Here we go. Hey, let's do it. Hey, giddy up on three. 1, 2, 3. Giddy up.
You can feel the buzz when you're around this city. People have fallen in love with the Birmingham Stallions. Here we go. We're getting a little juice going. Birmingham is going to win the USFL championship.
Welcome back to State of the Stallions. I'm your host, Luke Miller, and happy to be joined again this week by former offensive lineman, Stallions offensive lineman and two-time champion, Dee Gray. Really excited to have him back on here. Missed him last week. So, Dee, what's been going on, man? How you doing?
Everything is good, man. I'm happy, excited. It's draft day, man. It's the best feeling. It's the best feeling of the year for most players like myself and guys that have been through the process. I mean, it's very stressful. It's a time of the year where a lot of guys are going to get their names called tonight, and life's going to change forever. But there's a lot of guys going to be upset that they didn't get their name called. But it's not the end of the world. People get opportunities, get free agent signings at the year. Go make the best of it. So, but overall, it's exciting days, like a holiday for all athletes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know it's a busy day for you covering the draft, and so I appreciate you making the time to talk a little UFL in the midst of all this NFL business that's been going on. Curious to hear, Stallions. We didn't get to talk too much about the Houston game before it happened last week, but Stallions were able to pull it out. It was a little bit closer maybe than we might have hoped, but a win's a win. Curious to hear kind of maybe some of your initial thoughts or reactions to what you saw this past weekend when the Stallions faced the Roughnecks.
I mean, overall, I think they're getting better, man. I mean, from week one, of course, like I talked to Coach Gould earlier this week and touched bases with him, man. I know they picked up Darius Hopper and guys like that. And I was like, how's the guys looking? He was like, man, they're making so much of a big improvement right now that they still know where they want to be at. And we can see that front day's gotten so much better. We've seen the line has been rotated, guys has moved out. I think the line they went with last week was Wesley at left tackle, and they got DeLauro at right tackle. So I don't know why that move made that move up front, but it does look like it helped a lot as far as stability inside on the edges, keeping that pocket off the quarterback. However, though, talking to Goose, the guys still know where they need to be. I mean, still guys, they still need to figure out a way to be able to create dominance up front where they still need to control the line of scrimmage where, as last year when we was there, we kind of controlled the line of scrimmage. You've seen the needle move up front, and they still getting there. They making progress and starting to get back where they want to be at. I'm also impressed with Matt Corral, stepping in, not being a starter this year, and just making it count, making his reps count, understanding that it's the next man up mentality, and he was doing just that, man. He was finding guys open. He was able to use his legs to escape the pocket, find ways to create seams down the hole. Through three great deep balls, one to Camp, one to Kane, and a couple of them to Davion Davis. So I mean, he was able to just find his guys all day open. So I'm kind of impressed about that. So.
Yeah, no, I thought Corral definitely had his best game thus far. And I think, like you mentioned, one of the things he just seemed much more decisive. Like when it wasn't there, he took off and got what he could with his legs. When guys were open, he hit them. He had that one interception, but I mean, it kind of looked like a miscommunication between him and Jace. Jace kind of didn't really see that the ball was thrown. So, it obviously wasn't the greatest play, but I think you can kind of forgive Matt for that one. Or at least.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to cut you off on that. I was going to say
No,
that one bad play that I did see out of him was that interception to Jace where it looked like the ball was a little bit behind him and both was kind of off the same thing. But it's football. Things happen. And just like I told people earlier in the year, it's only game one. Everything is not set in stone yet. Guys are still moving around. And that play right there, guys are still trying to gel together and figure out their rhythm together. And that right there showed right there on that play. However, like I said, he showed his arm strength for sure, man. He could throw a pretty ball down the field. He was able to get the ball down the yard once again, type Deion Kane and down to Jalen Camp and also to Davion Davis, finding him on the sideline and across the middle for a touchdown. So he seems to have a little niche for Davion, which is our guy, a guy that have a little bit of NFL experience and be able to know how to get open. As we've seen on two-point conversions, the play through the ball across the middle, and he was able to find the end zone. So, I mean, like I said, Matt Corral, I'm super impressed with him, man. He's a warrior. He's a fighter. We're still hoping the best for Magoo as he continues to make his return back. Like I said, offensive line, like I said, it was different up front. The guys, Goose switched it up a little bit and went with a different offensive line. Looked like Cole Snyder was out last week against Houston. Hope to see him back. That's my guy. Of course, hope to see him back out there with the stash. But the O-line pretty much last week looked pretty good, man. Monty Taylor was out. They had DeLauro at right tackle. So DeLauro looks better at right tackle than he did at left tackle. And it could be because of the surgery he had. He's better. He's able to anchor on that back foot now, so he can be able to take a little bit more power and not have to get ran into the quarterback. So I don't know if that's something that will stay there, something that Monty have to worry about, possibly getting moved to left tackle. Not sure. So that's something we should keep an eye on to see if DeLauro stay that right tackle spot and Monty Taylor gets moved to the left.
Yeah, I think on the depth chart for this upcoming week against Memphis, it looked like they're going to stick with that. They had, at least on the depth chart, Wesley and Armani on the left, and DeLauro and Deontay Brown on the right. And looks like Cole is still going to be out at least another week. He didn't practice this week, and sounds like he's still hurt. So, I mean, I was curious to ask you. I mean, I feel like right now part of the story with the Stallions is just injuries, man. Like every year that happens, but it seems like this year, for whatever reason, it seems like it's been worse maybe than past years. And obviously up front, they've had to rotate a lot of guys. I mean, Cole played almost every offensive snap last year, and he's missed last game. He's going to miss the next game. They've had to put Sutherland at center and kind of move some guys around. So, I mean, is it hard to – let me just ask, how does it affect the offensive line and the chemistry and kind of everybody being on the same page when you've got guys moving around like that and guys swapping in and out, and you lose, your starting center who's kind of the anchor there in the middle, who's been there for the last couple of years?
I mean, it's tough, man. It's always tough because us five guys have to gel together. It can't be 4 out of 5 or 3 out of the 5 because once one guy's missing or one thing is off, the whole O-line messes the play up. As we know, defensive line can react and will go to the wrong gap and make a play. Us, we go to the wrong guy, we create a big hit, a sack, a tackle for loss. Something bad happens where we now all on the same page. So all 5 guys being together and having to gel together, that's going to be super important. Now, as we looked at last week, those guys looked pretty good up front. They looked like they didn't miss a piece. And Sutherland coming in right there, stepping in for a guy like Cole, which really leads the charge up front. The captain, the guy that brings the hard head every game, that's, like you said, haven't missed a game with us last season. Him being out and being a step into his shoes, a big shoes to fill. You know what I mean? I think that he did a pretty good job last week, setting the table, coming up, identifying 4 down, safety rotation, the backer location, being able to point guys out. If you look at him on film, he's pointing out guys or combinations of where they headed to. So Cole has a lot to help with that because I know he's going to be helping to stand in his ear, understanding how to see the defense because he is new to the team. Now, I knew the football, but new to this team and how Skip runs the offense. Another thing is the mix-up with the guard situation, having now Simmons at left guard where he played a little bit on the right side. So now having those guys flip things in their mind sometimes can be a challenge. I knew for me as a player, it was a challenge sometimes, even though you're going to the right on one play and you at left guard, so you still go to the right. But even if you're on the right guard side and you got to go to the right, it's just the footwork is different. It feels different. So guys a little stiffer on one side opposed to the other. So it's easier for as fans to say, well, it's all blocking schemes. They should be ambidextrous and they should be able to swap each side. As we see, DeLauro played better on the right side than he did on the left side. And he's been playing left all last season. So once again, like I said, these guys up front, like I said, they look pretty good. Gooch is a great coach, man, and he knows what he's doing. So I wouldn't, in my mind, have a doubt that these guys are going to be more than game ready when they come to go play Memphis coming up soon, so this weekend. So like I said, we don't know. I said you said depth chart came out. I don't know if Armani will be back or where there be DeLauro still at right tackle and Armani sliding left tackle. I'm not sure, but however it mix up, I think the guys will be ready as you see they continue to keep improving every week.
Well, as you said, I think obviously Coach Googe is going to have them ready. And I saw a quote from Memphis's interim head coach, Jim Turner, who's an offensive line coach himself. And, he was complimenting Googe and talking about how he's one of, if not the best O-line coaches in this league and how he's clearly really working with his guys and already brought them a long way since week 1. And I mean, and you can see that. And like you said, it's kind of even more impressive when you consider all the injuries and all the moving pieces that they've had to have. And I think the guys deserve a lot of credit for how far they've come, and I think they've got potential still to get even better. But I think a guy like Sutherland, I think I've really been impressed with because he was out the first week or two, I think, with an injury, and then when he came back, I mean, I think he's had to play every position basically. I know he was at left tackle, I think, when he first came back, and DeLauro was hurt, and then I think he played some guard, and then they had to throw him in at center once Schneider got hurt. So I mean, he's played almost every position up front. And has overall, I felt like he joined the team, I think, like either right before or right at the beginning of training camp. So he was kind of a late addition. So He's done a really good job, and I think as we talked about with them moving around, Coach Goose moving around some of the pieces, kind of finding where guys can be most successful. You can tell they're getting better and better each week, and even this past week they did better running the ball. I felt like CJ kind of got going a little bit. It still wasn't as much as you would hope. There's still room for improvement there, but you can tell
100%.
they're going the right direction. I think, or at least to the common man like me, it seems that way.
Yeah, 100%. The way your take is, Luke, is exactly right. They are moving in the right direction. Where are they where they want to be? No, of course. It's always a work in progress every week. Every week is another opportunity to go out there and get better. So I expect by week 10 of the season, they should be at this point where they're dominating and their offense are putting up dominating points. I'm not used to seeing this low points from Skip right now.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that, but at some point they got to start kicking his offense into gear because the defense is coming and showing up a plan. And that leads me to my next point about the defense. Man, the defense has kind of been saving the day. They've kind of been the bell collar guys that's coming in and bringing a hard hat and serving these guys their lunch every day. Starting with my guy Russell, putting a hit on that quarterback from Houston last week, knocking him out the game. I mean, what a hit, man. That's what football is about, man. Being physicality to the game and putting hurting on people, man, and taking guys out the game. And you don't want to hurt nobody's career because everybody trying to get in the NFL, but there's a physical game where they got to start putting a hat on people. Now Russell did just that, setting that tone. And Tenzino, him being in there, being the kind of the big leader there, he's setting the tone for all the guys, man. You still got Gates there. You still got a lot of guys. That linebacker group is a special group. And like I said, me playing with two of those guys, Tenzino and Gates, those guys kind of leading the charge, man. And Russell just following in. I spent some time with Russell in Jacksonville during my time there, and Russell was pretty much a guy that sat behind like Shaq Quarterman, a guy that out of Miami, a really solid football player at the time. So he understands the game. He has some NFL game readiness reps. So there's no doubt in my mind or no shock to me that how he played in that game is what he's used to doing. And I expect out the rest of the season out of him to continue to show that and come up and fill those holes. And a lot of quarterbacks from question running between those tackles like that, seeing those three guys sitting in the front. JoJo Tillery, man, closing the game out, big in the man, just being a leader, man, being a guy that's been around this program for 3 years now, understanding what he needs to do to lead. Understanding that he been through a couple of injuries with his hamstrings last year, and understand this is his get back year. This is a revenge year where he has to go show what he was released from us last year, and he was almost not coming back. So now his time back is needed to reassure himself why Skip made the right decision bringing him back, and he's doing just that, being a leader back there. So it's a really good team, man. Like I said, what I do need to think the defense need to work on is locating the ball in the air, man. I think the corner now getting kind of lost in the air right now, creating foolishness, passing interference penalties, as well as letting guys come back to the ball and jump routes on them like that. So if I had a nitpick about the defense, is giving up too much blades of grass down the field, letting the corners be able to locate the ball in the air. I don't know if that comes with them doing more drills in practice at Choctaw Stadium, throwing the ball over here and finding the ball, but they look lost right now. So just eliminating all that opportunities, man, so we could take some of that pressure off the D line and the linebacker group. Just being able to locate that ball in the air to create more turnovers.
Yeah, no, I've been super impressed with the defense this year. I mean, I think right now they're averaging and giving up about 13 points a game. And unfortunately, the Stallions offense, going back to week one, has not always put them in good positions with, sacks and turnovers and that sort of thing. So even despite the fact that they haven't always been in ideal circumstances, they're only giving up, like I said, about 13 points a game. I think going into the Houston game, I was looking this up this week, they had only given up 2 red zone touchdowns in 10 red zone attempts. Now, this past week, I think they gave up 2 for 2. They had a little bit of a hard time containing McClendon. I mean, he played really well, which I think raises a question for this week because McClendon last week, that wasn't a guy you were expecting to see. You thought you were going to play Nolan Henderson. Like you said, Russell knocks him out of that game. And you're totally right. I mean, having Tez and Gates back obviously is huge. And then they threw Tay Crowder and Russell in that room. And I mean, both of those guys are thumpers, dude. Like I would not want to be hit by either one of them, man. Like those guys bring it. And so you knock the quarterback out of the game, but then you bring in a new quarterback that you haven't seen all year. You don't have any tape on. You're not, expecting to go up against, and he kind of comes out and makes some plays with his arm and his feet. And this next week against Memphis, you got sort of a similar situation, except for you kind of know it's coming because they've benched their, 2 previous quarterbacks that have started, and EJ Perry and Troy Williams. And they've got a new guy, Dresser Wynn, who is a young guy, I think just came out of college maybe like a year or two ago. and doesn't really have a lot of professional experience. I mean, I think he spent a little bit of time in the NFL in a preseason camp or two, but hasn't played in this league yet. Nobody's seen what he can do. So I'm curious. Obviously you're an offensive guy, but you've had those moments where maybe you've had to go up against a defensive lineman or a new defensive coordinator or something like that, where you don't exactly know what you're going to get when you get out there, and you don't have as much tape, you don't have as much to go off when you prepare. So how do you expect the defense is getting ready for that, facing a brand new quarterback that nobody's seen yet this year?
Well, I think I still think Skip and the boys going to come out a little conservative. They're going to try to fill him out. It don't take long because he's a guy that have to prove himself right now. That's what we got working for this guy right now. He says his name is Win, I think. Win.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah.
to prove himself right now. So he comes out the gate. He has to show his whole hand. He has to give us all he got that first couple plays, and that's what Skip won't have to go off. What is he giving us right then and there? He can't wait to the second half to make adjustments because once as you know, when you give a bully something, and you don't fight back, the bully's gonna keep doing it more and more. So once you get this guy going early, his piss is on fire right now. He's on fire. He's getting an opportunity. This bench Troy Williams, EJ Perry, two incredible quarterbacks. I mean, like these guys are two incredible quarterbacks. As we know, EJ Perry spent some time in the league as well as Troy did, and Troy's I think he's with the Maulers at some point, right? Pittsburgh,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Was a great quarterback. Gave us trouble during the time in USFL. So those good quarterbacks. However, what I think the biggest issue for is Memphis is just up front. Up front, they're struggling up front. They can't get it going. They got, like I said, couldn't get it going up front. They can't figure out how to move the offensive line, move the line of scrimmage, man. The offensive line is getting pushed back. Guys are getting hit in the backfield. Every time as Troy set up last week, he could not get his feet set against Michigan. They always in the backfield. You had Paul Moore back in the backfield making plays. I mean, it was pretty much a party in the backfield last week, and I wouldn't want to put on Troy. I put that stuff strictly on the offensive line. So as I'm saying that's a way for me leading to my next thought, that this is the way that the Stallions need to feast off. The offensive line. The offensive line is struggling. That's where a lot of the guys, Carlos should have a monstrous day. That guy should be coming off the edge, should be making plays. He's coming off the inside, making plays and causing havoc where the quarterback, that new guy Win, cannot step up in the pocket and give himself time. Because that pocket should be in the backfield where he has to create and use his leg. And that's what we don't know. Can he use his legs? Can he throw on a run? Because he's going to have to learn how to throw on a run really quick, or he's going to have a lot of sacks in the backfield. We knew Troy can move with his legs. We knew that he can run. He can throw. I mean, you have to stay in his face at all times, or he's going to create a big play. And so I'm kind of shocked to see them bench a guy like Troy because he gives a lot of dynamicness to the offense where he can run and throw, and it gives a little spiciness when it comes to that read option game. But a guy like him, we just don't know. And it won't take long to figure out a guy like him just because he has to show his hand early to show what he can do, or he will be pulled and Troy will be back in the game.
Yeah. I think, Memphis obviously hasn't won a game yet this year. They're getting to the point in the season where, probably starting to feel a little desperate. Like if they don't start pulling off some wins, their season's going to be over before long, and going up against obviously one of, the best, what historically has been the best team in the league. And so, I think it's probably one of those things where, hey, we've played Perry, we've played Williams, they've played decent, but hasn't been able to get the job done. Like we haven't seen this guy yet. Why not we just throw him out there and see what we can get? But I think you're right. I think the big question is, what is he going to be able to do based on how the offensive line plays? That was really the problem in Memphis last year too. Case Cookus, who we can talk about in a second, he was under siege like all last year. I remember when y'all played against them, I think it was the first time at Protective, Jonathan Garvin came off the edge, and I was surprised Case Cookus got up after the hit he took, because man, Garvin, I think, sent him to another realm for a few minutes. And so, Cookus, poor guy, was running for his life all last year, and maybe it's been somewhat improved this year, but not what you'd want it to be.
Right.
And so that's gonna be a tough assignment for Dresser Wynn to come in, if that's the situation. If he's again running for his life, it's going to be hard, I would assume, to really kind of settle in. So I think that will be kind of the matchup to watch, and certainly the D line's going to have their ears pinned back.
For sure. And if I'm the offensive coordinator right now for Memphis right now, I'm getting Win going early. I'm getting him going early. I'm not giving him no deep drop back throws because he don't have the time. He don't know if he has the actual time from the O-line to be able to let him go through his reads properly. I'm getting him going with some rhythm throws. And if I'm skipping the boys, I'm playing guys up. We're now wasting time scooting back because we have a good pressure up front where guys can get to the quarterback quickly. So I will get guys up pressing because we know they're going to start with something short, trying to get him going. quick, and that's how you can jump some routes and create some interceptions early or some deflections early. So, with all that being said, I expect Skip and the boys to come out definitely playing more press and coming up on the line of scrimmage and expecting the D-line to get there and cross some have and get the ball out quickly, cause some turnovers and deflections.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Switching back to the stand sort of on the offensive side of the ball, unfortunately, we talked about, Matt had probably his best game yet this past week, but suffered an injury late, and the depth chart came out, and he's not been able to practice all week, been injured, and he's not going to be able to play Friday night with the short week going into just a couple days of practice and rest before having to suit back up. And so Case Cook is onto the third quarterback, is going to get the start against his former team in Memphis, and he's not a stranger to this league. Obviously was with the Stars for a couple years in the USFL, and then was with Memphis last year. Really probably struggled last year, had probably his least successful season last year, but I think again a lot of that was due to his offensive line play and not being able to really ever kind of get established because of how much pressure he was under. So I'm curious. I mean, obviously he's a guy who's been around this league and is like I said, no stranger to anybody that's kind of followed this stuff, or people like yourself who have played against teams in this league. So Case Cookus, I mean, what do you think about kind of what you know of him, or interactions, experiences you've had with him, and what he kind of brings to this offense, as we move on to a third quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I mean, and Case Cookins wouldn't be on the team if he wasn't willing enough or had the winning power to even win a game for the Stallions. Stallions is a tough team. We've been back 3-peat champions for a reason, and we don't bring guys onto the squad or the Stallion squad, I would say, at any time if we feel like they can't produce. Case Cookins has been a guy for the Philadelphia Stars. Like I said, back when I played in year 2 with the USFL, was a guy that was really successful for the Stars. That was one of the teams to beat. He had a great receiver group with Devin Gray, and some other guys out there that he was able to get the targets to. So he had, what I do like about his attributes, man, his size. He's really tall. He's a guy that can look over the line of scrimmage, because we do have a tall offensive line with Amani Ted, DeLauro, and guys inside besides Cornbread, which is Deontay Brown. He's the only guy, him and Cole, is the shortest guys. But for the most part, he could be able to look right over the line and find all of his guys, man. I think, once again, I'm not worried. Just like I wasn't worried about Matt Corral, I'm not worried about Case Cookins. I think his game readiness and Skip's process of getting to his head and making sure he understands his read is going to be more than ready, man. And Goul's going to do a good job of making sure he stay confident, make sure he doesn't get hit.
I got to ask you, as an offensive lineman, I don't know if you caught this play at the end of last game, but when Matt got hurt late against Houston, and Cookus had to come in for a couple plays there to finish out the game, the first play he came in, he handed the ball off to CJ, and CJ was going right, and then put his foot in the ground and cut and started to come back left, and Case, ran in front of him and threw a block. I think it was on either a linebacker or a safety, just like threw his body out there for first play of the game. And I feel like that captures a lot of what Cookus is. Like he has no fear. Like he'll put his body on the line. He'll, do whatever it takes for the team. And I just, as an offensive lineman who, that's your job every day, is to try and block and protect that guy from getting hit. But then you turn around and see your quarterback running out there and throwing his body on the line and trying to block a linebacker or safety and, hitting guys. I mean, what is that? What kind of message does that send, to the rest of the team and to the O-line and to the guys around you?
That this team means a lot to him. That this guy is willing to sacrifice his body and his health, knowing that he's the only quarterback we have left.
Yeah.
To go throw a body. I mean, which I think is kind of foolish to do that. But once again, it's the tone, because this is all he knows. He's not thinking that, I got to stay healthy, I'm the only one we got. He's thinking of how he plays regardless of what. That's what he showed. He showed this what he does as a player regardless of circumstances. And I like that out of him. I like a guy that's going to really go out there and is going to set the tone, going to take the charge. It's not just going to talk about it. He's going to be about his actions. So he's going to go show, like you said, go throw a block. Go do the extra small 1% to help this team be that much better, as we see how close that game was. That game could easily switch over one play away, and Houston's walking away with that win. And we're looking at 2-2. Now, because of those small plays, now the Stallions are 3-1. But once again, that offense have to get going. Case Cook going to come out. He got to say he has a good arm. He has good accuracy. He got a good height to be able to see. He has to get the ball going early. Get it to our hot hands. Our 3 guys are getting hot. Jason's still coming along. Dion is on fire. Davion is on fire. Camp is trying to creep his way into that mix. Get the balls to the hot guys. Dion right now is on fire. Get the ball to him every play if you can. If he's open, give it to him. You know what I mean? Because right now we have to figure out a way as the Stallions to move up the ladders to make this scoreboard not be so as close and make people think like, well, when they go against a good team, What are they going to do then? They go against DC again. What is going to happen? You know what I mean? So we want to eliminate those thoughts and those things right now and just start getting this offense going, man. Figuring out how we can start doing a little bit more window dressing and making stuff more visible to see so we can make more open throws because they there to be thrown. I mean, just make sure the protection is there. Case Cook is going to be just fine.
Yeah, man, I think you're totally right that having Dion has been huge, and I think it was 2 weeks ago when we played Arlington. He had to miss that game because he had a baby boy that was born, which is awesome for him, but
Yeah.
it wasn't great for us because you could just tell not having him out there on offense really made a big difference. And he's kind of, I think, unsurprisingly, he's been kind of one of, if not the guys on the outside there the last couple of years, and this year too, he's been the biggest weapon we have, and so not having him has hurt. But it'll be great to have him this week and to see if him and Cookus can kind of get on the same page and sort of have that connection. Well, Dee, it's been great chatting with you, man. Before I let you go here, just maybe one last question. Going into this game, you've got the Stallions at 3-1, one of, if not the best teams in this league, going up against Memphis, who's, despite having played well, 0-4, hasn't won a game, really struggled to kind of put it all together. How do you, as the team, as the coaching staff, Skip, kind of having that 1-0 mindset, how do you prepare and maintain that level of focus and intensity when you're going up against a team that, people have already kind of written off this season?
Well, right now, I think this game is more important than the other one, than any other game they got on their schedule because it's the next one. And this game, as we know, this is still professional football. Teams can come out there and still win and beat an unbeaten team or beat a 3-1 team like the Stallions. As we know, as we said on Sundays, we said in hockey, we said in baseball, teams that should be written off find a way to come out and make a big win and to change the season around. Yeah, their season. Is it over? Not really. They still can make a comeback and go win out the rest of the season. Who knows? So my thing is letting them come out and get a jump on you and getting the win on you can start something for this team and make them start to turn the season around. So right now, I think they take this game with a grain of salt and know that this game, that the 0-4 Memphis Showboats is not what you think they are. You still go out there and play your game and try to be the best team that we can be. It's all about us. That's what you got to remember. Stallions is all about the Stallions, not about them. It's all about what they do. So at the end of the day, when they start worrying about who they playing against, it's when they're going to start making mistakes. They'll start playing, creating more penalties, doing stupid mistakes, stuff that they can avoid. You know what I mean? Because they wouldn't do that if they're going against DC. Why do it against Memphis? So at the end of the day, Stallions ain't where they need to be at. As you see, that game against Memphis. Against Houston. The score was too close. That should have been easily a two score game. But yet it was like literally down to points. So Memphis, they come out with a win, I promise you. They will turn Memphis season around, and the Stallions we had to really consider what type of football team they want to be. But do I think this is going to be a win for the Stallions? Of course. But how they win is what I'm looking closely at. How they beat this team. Are they taking advantage of every opportunity? Are they moving these guys off the ball? Because we know, as I say, everyone watching film, the Memphis D-line can be moved. On combo blocks, they can be moved, and they can be put in linebackers live, and CJ should have a monstrous game. Stress shouldn't even be on Case Cookers today. On Friday night. They play on Friday, right? 7:00 Friday?
Yep.
It shouldn't be on Case Cookers. The game should be really on the O-line and moving the needle and just run the ball down Memphis' throat over and over and over because they don't want to be there. But you got to make them believe they don't want to be there because you give them any type of life, they will turn that game around and make this thing a real big-time show in Birmingham.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we saw it last week with DC playing San Antonio. DC was the last undefeated team going up against San Antonio, one of the two remaining teams at that point in time that hadn't won a game. And, a lot of people thought DC would be able to handle that pretty easily. And it's not what happened. San Antonio came into DC, took care of business and got their first win and gave DC their first loss. And so certainly that's a message for any team in this league that, obviously, like you said, any given Friday or Saturday or Sunday, any of these teams can win. So the Stallions certainly, I think, I don't think they're, underestimating Memphis, and certainly they shouldn't because, Memphis has got some great players and some great coaches. And again, like you said, anything can happen. So, well, Dee, appreciate this, man. Always appreciate getting to talk to you and get your perspective on these things. I think we did this a couple of weeks ago, but probably good to do it again. Just remind people, where they can find you. They might want to keep up with some of your NFL draft content over the weekend and other things that you're doing. So, where can the people find you at?
You can find me on my socials at Team Gray. That is TeamGrayy. Or that's on all Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you want to find me on YouTube under my channel is called Top Tier Topics, where I discuss a lot of sports, real life scenarios, entertainment, anything. You find all variety of everything on my YouTube. And tonight, NFL draft coverage starts tonight for us at 8 p.m. It's live in Green Bay, but we live in the station at 8 p.m. My live talk come on 11 p.m., which will be 10 o'clock Central Time. You can check it out. You can download the app, DC News Now, and just hit live coverage, and you get to watch me tonight. And I'll be joined by Bryce Love, former Commanders running back, and Derek Faulkner, and we'll be out there talking about the Commanders draft picks.
There you go, folks. So make sure you tune in, get some draft coverage from Dee. Also tune into his personal page, his Top Tier Topics podcast as well, and keep up with all the things he's doing. So you're a busy man. Appreciate you taking the time to do this on top of everything else you got going on, and look forward to chatting next week, hopefully about another Stallions win, hopefully a dominant one this time.
100%. Let's do it, brother.